The greatest battlefield you will ever fight on is not out there in the world. It's right between your ears. If you don't control your mind will control you. And if your mind controls you without discipline, focus, and attention, guess what? You'll live your whole life reacting instead of creating, watching instead of building, existing instead of dominating. The mind is the place where every victory is born and every defeat is conceived. It's not the economy, your background, your education, or even your circumstances that determine your outcome. It's the way you think about those things. The thoughts you allow to take root in your mind will eventually grow into habits, and those habits will create your reality. Before anything ever shows up in your bank account, it shows up in your belief system. Before it becomes physical, it's mental. And that's why the mind is the most dangerous or the most powerful territory you will ever enter. When you wake up in the morning, your day has already begun in your mind. If your first thoughts are about fear, doubt, distraction, or shame, then your mind has already been compromised before you even leave your bed. The enemy doesn't have to touch your body if he can influence your thoughts. If he can inject a lie into your mind and you believe it long enough, it becomes your truth. And once you adopt that false truth, it begins to govern your decisions, limit your vision, and sabotage your potential without you even realizing it. You were created with power and purpose, but most people live far beneath their capacity because their mind has never been trained to believe otherwise. The world conditions you to conform, not to transform. You're being fed distractions, doubts, and disbelief daily. And if you're not consciously filtering what enters your mind, you're unconsciously becoming a product of your environment. That's why people feel stuck. They don't realize it's not their job, not their family, not their lack of time holding them back. It's the strongholds in their mind. The mind doesn't just reflect your reality, it creates it. The lens through which you see the world determines how you interact with it. If your mind is filled with scarcity, you'll miss opportunity even when it's in front of you. If your mind is filled with fear, you'll back down from doors that were meant for you to walk through. And if your mind is cluttered with opinions, you'll never hear the voice of your own purpose. Your mind becomes your prison or your platform, and every thought you entertain is a brick you're laying in one direction or the other. Thoughts are seeds. They don't just sit there, they grow. A thought of self-doubt, if watered daily, becomes a belief of unworthiness. A thought of laziness becomes a lifestyle of procrastination. But the opposite is also true. A thought of faith becomes a mindset of victory. A thought of confidence becomes a pattern of bold action. And eventually those patterns produce results that compound over time. What you think repeatedly, you become permanently. The real war is silent. It's fought in the privacy of your own head. No one sees it, no one hears it, but it affects every single part of your life. You could be in a room full of opportunity and still feel like an outsider if your mind hasn't been trained to see yourself as worthy. You can be surrounded by support and still feel alone if your mind has been conditioned by past pain. That's the power of thought. It determines what you see, how you interpret it, and whether or not you act on it. Your future is not waiting for you to arrive. It's waiting for your mind to catch up. It's not the door that needs to change. It's your perception of whether you're worthy to walk through it. Every time you choose a disciplined thought over a destructive one, you win a battle. Every time you speak life over yourself when fear is screaming in your ear, you take back ground. It's not dramatic, but it's powerful. And it adds up slowly, silently, and surely. The truth is, your life will never rise higher than your thoughts. That's why transformation doesn't start with a change in your situation. It starts with a renewal of your mind. You can go to every seminar, read every book, buy every program, but if your thinking stays the same, your results will too. You can't build an empire with a defeated mind. You can't walk in freedom with a mind chained to the past. Everything you are becoming begins where you are believing. Focus is not something you stumble into when the conditions are perfect. It's something you choose, especially when they're not. Too many people are waiting for the right moment, the right mood, or the right motivation to zero in on what matters. But the truth is, if you wait to feel focused, you'll spend your life drifting. Focus isn't about how you feel, it's about what you decide. You don't wake up focused, you choose to focus over and over again until it becomes who you are. Feelings are fleeting. They change with the weather, with your sleep, with your stress levels, with your surroundings. One minute you're ready to conquer the world, the next minute you're second guessing everything. That's normal. But champions don't operate from feelings, they operate from decisions. A person who only takes action when they feel like it will always be outworked by the person who made a decision and stuck with it. Focus is a muscle, and decision is the weight you use to strengthen it. Most people confuse emotion with intention. They think because they want something badly enough, that's enough to manifest it. But wanting is not the same as deciding. You can want to be wealthy and still make decisions rooted in fear. You can want to be focused and still scroll for hours, telling yourself it's just a break. But when you decide to focus, that decision overrides the emotional fog. It creates structure in the middle of chaos. It becomes a filter that tells your brain what's allowed and what's not. A decision creates boundaries, and focus requires boundaries. Without them, you'll say yes to everything and wonder why you're stuck in the same place. When you decide to focus, you start saying no, not because you're negative, but because you've chosen something greater. You stop entertaining distractions disguised as opportunities. You stop letting urgency rob you of importance. The decision to focus is the gatekeeper of your purpose. Focus is a decision to honor your time as sacred. It's a declaration that your calling matters enough to cancel distractions. You stop letting your phone, your inbox, or your social media dictate your direction. Instead, you take the wheel. You schedule your priorities instead of prioritizing your distractions. You stop being busy and start being effective. Because when you've decided to focus, clarity becomes your compass. There are always going to be things pulling at your attention. Emergencies, noise, people's opinions, your own doubts. Focus doesn't mean those things disappear. It means they no longer dominate. You don't need a perfect environment to focus. You need a made-up mind. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sail. The decision to focus is how you steer even in the storm. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about alignment. When you decide to focus, you bring your behavior into agreement with your beliefs. You begin to move like someone who knows where they're going. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop waiting and start building. Focus is not about intensity, it's about consistency. A laser cuts not because it burns bright, but because it stays locked in. What separates those who rise from those who stay stuck isn't how they feel, it's what they choose. Focus is a decision to ignore what's easy and engage what's essential. It's the inner vow that says, I will finish what I started, and every day that you honor that decision, you gain ground. Not because you felt like it, but because you decided it was worth it. Distraction doesn't need to destroy your life to be effective. It just needs to delay you long enough that you miss your moment. It's subtle, not always loud or obvious. It creeps in through comfort, through comparison, through convenience. You start out with clarity and momentum, but somewhere along the way, your focus is hijacked by things that feel urgent but have no eternal weight. And before you know it, you're busy but not productive, active but not advancing, distracted and drifting from your destiny. Every person is born with purpose, but not every person fulfills it. Why? Because distraction feels like progress when it's dressed up in productivity. It's scrolling instead of studying. It's reacting instead of reflecting. It's pleasing people instead of pursuing purpose. You can spend your entire life moving and still never arrive anywhere meaningful if distraction is your driver. The real danger isn't in being still, it's in moving fast in the wrong direction. Distraction is expensive. It costs you your time, your peace, your clarity. Every second spent chasing something that doesn't align with your assignment is a second you can't get back. The enemy of your destiny doesn't need to rob you with destruction. He'll rob you with distraction. If he can keep you entertained, he can keep you enslaved. If he can keep you busy, he can keep you blind to the bigger picture. Not everything that looks like opportunity is an open door from God. Some are just detours designed to delay you. The challenge with distraction is that it often feels harmless. A 5-minute detour turns into an hour of wasted time. A single compromise leads to a pattern of complacency. You tell yourself you'll get back on track tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next week, and next week turns into next year. And all the while, destiny is waiting on you to wake up, waiting on you to choose alignment over entertainment, waiting on you to stop feeding your comfort and start feeding your calling. Destiny doesn't compete for your attention. It waits for your focus. That's why distraction is so dangerous. It doesn't have to take everything from you. It just has to take your focus long enough to disconnect you from purpose. You miss assignments you were born to fulfill. You ignore ideas you were called to build. You settle for cycles you were anointed to break. All because something shinier, louder, or easier came along and captured your attention. Every great destiny requires sacrifice, and distraction is often the test that separates the interested from the committed. You can't walk in authority if you're addicted to attention. You can't lead a movement if you can't manage your mind. Every minute you waste on meaningless noise is a minute you could have spent mastering your gift, building your vision, sharpening your skill. Distraction will rob you blind and make you thank it for the entertainment. The world will always offer you 1,000 ways to delay your destiny. Notifications, opinions, trends, temptations, they are relentless. And if you don't train your spirit and your schedule to say no, you'll find yourself off course, wondering how you got so far from the thing you once felt called to. Distraction doesn't start with disobedience. It starts with little compromises, things that feel small but stack up until you're buried under the weight of wasted potential. It takes more than passion to fulfill purpose. It takes precision. Precision comes from the discipline of focus, the refusal to be pulled in every direction, the ability to recognize when something is simply a noise, not a signal, when something is trying to feed your ego instead of your assignment, when something is keeping you occupied but not aligned. That's when you have to shut the door, cut the cord, and silence everything that doesn't speak to your future. Vision is the internal compass that gives your life direction. Without it, you may still be moving, but you're moving aimlessly. You're chasing activity without alignment, success without satisfaction, motion without meaning. Vision is what takes your steps and gives them significance. It turns what could be just another day into part of a divine assignment. It's not just about setting goals. It's about having a reason, a revelation, and a result that you're working toward, even when no one else understands it. People often confuse being busy with being directed. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're going anywhere that matters. Without vision, your days become reactive. You respond to the loudest voice, the most urgent demand, or the most tempting distraction. But with vision, you filter your decisions through your destiny. You start asking not, does this feel good right now, but does this get me closer to where I'm supposed to be? That one shift in mindset changes everything about how you operate. Vision doesn't always come in a flash. Sometimes it comes in fragments, a pull in your spirit, a dream that won't go away, a burden you can't ignore. And as you move, that vision starts to get clearer. Vision is revealed in the doing. It's uncovered in obedience. You don't always need all the answers. You just need the conviction to take the next step. Vision gives you the boldness to walk by faith not sight, because even if your eyes don't see it yet, your spirit knows it's real. When you have vision, you stop living for applause and start living for alignment. You're no longer tossed around by public opinion or temporary feelings because you've already decided where you're going. Vision locks you in. It tells you what to say yes to and what to say no to. It sets boundaries, creates structure, and gives you the confidence to endure seasons of silence, knowing that your steps are not wasted. They're woven into a bigger picture. Without vision, time is easily wasted. You start filling your life with things that look good on the surface but lead nowhere beneath it. You chase what's trending instead of what's timeless. You build based on other people's expectations instead of your own convictions. But with vision, you become intentional. Every hour, every conversation, every investment has purpose behind it. You're not just living, you're building something eternal, something that speaks even when you're silent. Vision is also what fuels perseverance. When the process gets hard, and it will, vision reminds you why you started. It's the picture in your mind that pulls you forward when everything around you says quit. It gives meaning to the pain and purpose to the pressure. Vision is the reason you keep getting up, keep showing up, and keep pushing forward when progress feels invisible. It's not that the journey is easy, it's that the destination is worth it. Your environment may try to define you, but vision allows you to rise above it. It lifts your perspective beyond where you are to where you're called to be. It reminds you that your current season is not your final sentence. Vision breaks cycles, it challenges comfort, it stretches your faith. It doesn't settle for what's been handed to you. It dares to imagine what's possible through you. That's why people with vision are often misunderstood, even criticized, because vision sees beyond what others are willing to look at. When you have vision, you walk differently. You carry yourself with a sense of purpose. You don't need constant affirmation because you're already anchored. You don't need everything to make sense immediately because you trust the process. Vision gives you direction, and direction gives you peace. Not because the road is perfect, but because you know where you're headed, and that knowing becomes the force that shapes your decisions, guards your energy, and fuels your destiny. Discipline is the silent architect of destiny. It's not flashy. It doesn't post on social media, and it doesn't ask for recognition, but it shows up in results that others can't replicate. Where motivation fades, discipline remains. Where excitement dies out, discipline keeps building. Destiny's not unlocked by desire alone. It is unlocked by the daily decisions no one sees. The grind, the sacrifice, the routine, that's where destiny begins to take shape, long before it ever becomes visible. People love the idea of destiny because it sounds glamorous, but few are willing to embrace the discipline it demands. Destiny isn't about having talent, it's about having training. Discipline is the system that sustains success. Without it, your gift will collapse under the weight of inconsistency. You might get a breakthrough once, but without discipline, you won't be able to repeat it. True greatness isn't proven in what you start, it's proven in what you sustain. Discipline is choosing structure over impulse. It's saying yes to growth and no to comfort. It's waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's finishing what you started when quitting would be easier. It's doing what you said you'd do long after the mood you made the promise in has faded. That's the grit that separates wishful thinkers from world changers. Talent opens the door, but discipline is what keeps you in the room. Every destiny has an enemy, and its name is inconsistency. You can't build something eternal on emotions that change by the hour. If you only act when it's easy, you'll never do anything that requires endurance. Discipline doesn't eliminate difficulty. It prepares you for it. It hardens your resolve. It makes you resilient. The reason some people thrive under pressure and others fold is not because one is stronger than the other. It's because one has trained for it and the other hasn't. Discipline is an act of honor. It says, I take my assignment seriously. It's how you respect the calling on your life. It's how you steward the time, gifts, and opportunities you've been given. The world may not applaud your discipline, but heaven does. And over time, the harvest always shows up. While others are wishing for success, the disciplined are working for it. While others are distracted, the disciplined are dedicated. It's easy to start with fire, but only discipline keeps the flame burning. Passion may ignite the process, but discipline carries it to completion. Discipline makes you dangerous because it gives you consistency in a world ruled by chaos. You become the person who can be counted on, the person who doesn't just dream but delivers. That kind of consistency is rare, and that's why it's powerful. Most people are waiting on a miracle, when in reality, their miracle is waiting on their discipline. The business plan works if you work it. The vision grows if you show up for it. The breakthrough comes if you prepare for it. Destiny doesn't respond to how loud you pray alone. It responds to how deeply you commit. Discipline turns your belief into behavior and your potential into performance. If you want to know where your life is going, look at your daily disciplines. Not your goals, not your dreams, your daily disciplines. Because what you do consistently is what determines who you become permanently. Destiny doesn't show up overnight. It shows up one routine at a time, one sacrifice at a time. And those small, often invisible acts of discipline begin to stack up until one day you step into everything you were created to become. Focus is one of the most powerful forces on earth. It doesn't just impact the present moment, it shapes the trajectory of your entire life. When you choose to focus, you are choosing to bring your energy, time, and resources into alignment with your purpose. It's not just about what you achieve in the here and now, it's about creating a legacy that will echo through generations. Focus is a multiplier. It amplifies every action you take, and when applied consistently, it reverberates beyond your lifetime. It shapes not only your destiny, but the destinies of those who follow you. The power of focus doesn't just lie in the immediate results it brings. It lies in its ability to create lasting impact. The decisions you make today, the way you show up, the work you put in, it all compounds over time. When you focus on your goals, on your vision, and on your purpose, you are building a foundation that future generations will inherit. You are setting a standard, laying down a path, and planting seeds that will grow far beyond your own reach. The sacrifices you make in the present, your focus, your discipline, your commitment, become the inheritance you leave behind. Focused effort is what separates dreamers from achievers. Everyone has ideas, everyone has dreams, but it's the ability to consistently focus on a single pursuit despite challenges and distractions that creates real transformation. And that transformation doesn't stop with you. It spreads like a wildfire. It reaches your family, your children, your community, and beyond. When you focus, you set an example for others. You show them what it means to go after something with everything you have, and in doing so, you inspire them to do the same. Your focus becomes a blueprint for those who come after you. Focus is the foundation of generational success. It's easy to get distracted by the noise of life, the opinions, the setbacks, the temptations. But when you remain focused on your calling, your goals, and your purpose, you create a culture of resilience. You teach your children, your peers, and everyone around you how to navigate life with intention and purpose. Your ability to stay focused becomes a lesson that transcends generations. When you prioritize what matters most, you set the stage for future generations to prioritize it too. Your focused actions today teach others how to focus on what really counts tomorrow. In a world full of distractions, focus becomes an act of defiance. It's easy to drift, to follow the crowd, to get lost in the noise, but when you choose to focus, you are choosing to stand apart. You're choosing to carve out a space in a world that constantly demands your attention and carve your own path. That choice, though it may seem small in the moment, has ripple effects. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the way your children and grandchildren view the world. They see you, and they see that focus is not just an option, it's a necessity. They learn that success is not about reacting to what life throws at you, but about intentionally creating the life you want to live. Focus is a gift you give to your future self and to those who come after you. Every time you choose to focus, you move closer to the person you were meant to be. But not just that, you also lay the groundwork for future generations to thrive. Focus teaches your children the value of hard work, the importance of sacrifice, and the power of perseverance. When they see you prioritizing your purpose, they begin to internalize those values. They start to believe in the possibility of greatness because they've seen it in action. The example you set through your focused determination becomes a roadmap for them to follow. The truth is, your focus is not just about you, it's about all the lives you will touch, directly and indirectly. It's about the impact you will have on your family, your community, your business, and the world. Focus has the power to transform not only your life, but the lives of generations to come. When you remain focused on your vision, when you push through adversity and stay committed, you are creating a legacy that goes far beyond your own lifespan. The fruit of your labor will be tasted by those who come after you, and they will be grateful for the focused energy you invested to build something worth leaving behind. Focus is a game changer, not just for today, but for the future. It is the seed that is planted in the present moment, but grows and bears fruit for decades to come. When you make the choice to focus, you are not just investing in your future, you're investing in the future of everyone you touch. You are creating a ripple effect that will change the world one focused decision at a time. The legacy you build today through focused effort will echo throughout generations, shaping a future that you may never live to see, but will have played a part in creating.